How's it going, everybody? This is the DIY Survival Guide. My name is John, and if you've read the title of this video, obviously you have if you've clicked on it, you'll know that I'm encouraging you to be that person. That is the theme of this episode, and I feel like it's a perfect topic to start off with, being that the explanation as to why I'm doing this entire, hopefully, series is a lot to do with that. Really, if you ask me, the most important part of DIY and doing things yourself is ambition. And not only ambition, being assertive, and not just being assertive with other people, being assertive with yourself, being assertive, just in putting energy into the world of saying, like, I'm going to do this myself. I want to see this through. I don't think that anyone else is suited more than I am to get this idea out of my head, which 9.9 times out of 10, they probably aren't. That's the reason why I love DIY so much. I really love the entire process of creating stuff, though it is strenuous. It is not easy. Making comics, making records. I do find it the resistance and the struggle and the rewards and all that stuff. I find it to be very gratifying. Now, I am someone who has had mild success in the underground, as in I've seen through a lot of work, a lot of passion projects. I've completed a lot of projects, whether by myself or with other people, and I've put them out into the world and have had them enjoyed by small groups of people, a lot more from a fulfillment aspect or fulfillment point of view than a financial one. That's not the point of this series. I'm not going to sell you a bunch of snake oil and give you 3 surefire tips to help you pole vault over the competition to become the greatest rags to riches artist that had ever lived. No, it's not. That's not what this is about. I want to talk to you and give you advice as someone who is right next to you, not looking down at you, not someone who climbed up and is now looking down at you, but someone who is still in the trenches, still working shit out, has pretty much always been in the trenches, and kind of chooses to stay in the trenches. I feel it's definitely appropriate for me to be a little more specific about, I guess, what would be my credentials, or just tell you a little bit more, be a little more specific about the things that I am a part of or was a part of at one point. My name is John, obviously. This is the Cauldron of Burgers YouTube channel. Cauldron of Burgers is my publishing company that I started back in, well, I mean, I started as an art Instagram in 2016, and in 2020, I cut the ribbon. I might have been 2021. I don't really remember, to be honest. I cut the ribbon on Cauldron of Burgers as a publishing outlet, publishing company. From that, I've done self-published about 12, possibly 15 books, all zines or full-length stories, full-length comics. As a musician, I am the singer of a band called Rule Them All. I'm the drummer of a band called Dead Last. I'm also the drummer of a band called Restless Spirit, and I also write all the music and have sort of a one-man band type deal under the name John the Movie, which is subject to change very soon. Those are all on Spotify if you want to slow this down and I guess type it into Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. But the reason I titled this video be well, what did I say? What did I say? I don't even remember. I'm too far into the video now to stop. Be that person. That's what it is. Okay. I wasn't able. Don't think I would have been able, rather, to be a part of all these things and have this, like, sort of very widespread um, uh, variety of things to do with my creativity if I didn't become that person. I can remember a couple situations in my youth that I don't know. It sort of felt like, in Scott Pilgrim when he like learns the meaning of self respect and the sword like comes out of his chest and stuff. I can remember those like a couple situations, um, and I think it's a good topic to talk about for the first episode because I feel like it's also sort of giving you a little more background into why I feel so strongly about this. But I remember there was a couple situations in which I really started to become assertive as a creative person. It dates all the way back over 15 years ago to when I was probably 13 or 14 years old. So I guess it would be like 16 years ago. Um, the first situation I think that really ignited that sort of like maybe there's something to this was when I bought a Samson USB microphone to record my band because we'd been playing in my basement and across every band member's basement for what felt like an eternity as a young teenager. But I remember we had, I think, two or three songs that were ready to record. Actually, it might have even been one song with two, I guess, in the chamber. Like we were just going to see if everything that we did worked. We needed to record it somehow. None of us had jobs because we were too young to have jobs. And I guess maybe not too young, but we didn't have jobs. What do you want from me? And I remember, I think I might have saved up enough birthday and Christmas and just like money like that. No, I think that's wrong because I had been working here and there for my family just off the books. My family owns a stone business. So I would just do little things like that I guess just like warehouse yard stuff. Sometimes over the summer, like any money that I would sort of get from all that, I would put away, and the time came that we needed a something to record these insane songs that we'd been writing. That, looking back, were insane for 14-year-olds to write, but probably really kind of unlistenable now. Um, but yeah, I remember doing research, being like, what can I do? What can I possibly do to get this going? Obviously, a full recording setup back then was not nearly as possible as it is now. The quality of recording was not nearly as good as it is now. Like home recording, the home recording boom really didn't happen yet. It was just at the tipping point where it was about to happen. Like there was cracks in the foundation, and things were about to start getting really good, but it wasn't there yet. And I guess this would be about 2008. Yeah, probably about 2008. And I remember I got my money. I'm like, I'm doing this. I found that Samson, I don't remember the model, but it was the USB cardioid like microphone. I guess you could switch between like the different patterns and whatnot. And I remember I got that and I looked up free recording software, and I found Audacity, and I recorded on my little crappy IBM laptop. I recorded this 4-minute prog epic, literally pointing it at the drums, which sounded like what you just imagine it sounded like, pointing it at my guitar player's Line 6 Spider 3, and then pointing it at my bass player's Line 6 little cube thing. And I think we added a pick scrape that's ended up sounding really good in the song, and like our minds were blown. I remember that sort of got me interested in recording because, and I felt like when we finished the song, and I like it wasn't mixed, it wasn't anything. It was just we just were able to hear the song like back, not playing the song, which before iPhones was pretty tough. This was pre iPhone, or what? No, it wasn't pre iPhone. This was just when iPhones were way too expensive for a regular person to afford. So I remember that day being the first time that I thought like maybe I want to pursue recording and like recording bands, and it was just because like I did research and I took the initiative. I really, in most of my projects, in one way or another, like I became the guy. I was always band dad or whatever, and it started really from there. Not all my bands, but a good chunk of them. I always willingly took on a lot of responsibility. Um, so yeah, there was that time, and I remember from there that was what started me taking like a music production class. My school offered like a little music production class that was pretty cool. It was pretty informative. I learned about Logic and stuff like that. But from that, I remember I became the guy who pressed play for a band in another band in my school that was my friends at the time that were called Party Hats, and then the Ha Ha Ha's, and then eventually became Soda Bomb. Soda Bomb was they were kind of just trying to do the whole garage rock, like Burger Records type deal. Um, but the CD that's in here was a CD called Cement Surfing, which I think is scrubbed from the internet. But I remember I became the guy who pressed play on the band's Zoom. It's not the. I want to say the H6. I know it's not the H6. It was like the mixer type deal. It was. I don't remember. Maybe I'll pull up a picture of it, like right here. I remember being the guy pressing record because they posted a video of them playing in their room. It was they were two-piece garage, like surfy kind of garage rock sort of thing. And I guess surf rock kind of counts because we're on Long Island. So um, it was we got beaches here, so surf rock is semi appropriate. Um, but I remember they posted their first song because like I had a band. It wasn't the band that I was talking about pointing the stuff at. I had started sort of a melodic, or not melodic, just a hardcore band, um, and we became friends with Party Hats, and we would play like little backyard shows together and stuff. And it was a cool thing. And I remember when they finally posted their music, I was like so into it because I saw something in it, and I remember I sort of was like, let me record you guys, whatever that means. So I think I bought like a little Zoom recorder that I helped them record demos with in what was called the Shred Shed at the time. It was a shed that they cleared out in our friend's house, and that's where they'd practice and leave their gear. Probably not really super smart as like leaving your gear out in like the wintertime, like your drum set in a shed in the wintertime. But it was high school, so it kind of didn't really matter. But as I said a billion times, I became the guy who pushed record on and helped them record that CD. This led to eventually the drummer quitting just after high school. The guitar player of a Soda Bomb joining my band at the time, my band breaking up, and then me joining Soda Bomb. I played drums in Soda Bomb up until the band broke up, but at the way beginning, when Cement Surfing was the only thing that we had, we were working on another EP in which I was engineering. You can go listen to that. It was called Hooligan by Soda Bomb. It's on YouTube and Bandcamp. It was pre-Hooligan when we were working out the new material. We just had these, and we were playing a good amount of shows, but we needed we needed CDs, and I remember. So this was, I guess, a collective effort. I don't really remember how we really initially acquired who bought the CDs or whatever, but I remember we had the idea as two just like dumb punk kids to just start burning CDs, and it was kind of just what you did back then. At this point, it's probably late 2011, 2012. It was a lot harder to start a label. Definitely not as easy as it is now. And if it was easy back then, we didn't know about it, and we were also just broke. We had jobs when we were kind of in school, kind of not, but it's just we didn't have $2,500 to go send to a record plant and press our record that wasn't mastered, or anything. We didn't have it would be crazy enough and a blessing enough if we had money to pay someone else to record that wasn't me. And I am not really a good engineer. Like, still to this day, I'm not. But we had these. Now, if you take a good look at it, it's literally just a piece of, uh, I guess, copy paper that we taped together. We literally taped these together just to make a CD jacket, and like even the CD itself is like too small for the hole. And then we just took we took Sharpies and just Crayola markers, and we just drew on the actual on the thing, and that was the demo. That was us handing things out. We didn't get make tapes until a very long time after that, when again starting a label became way easier. But I feel like you look at this and you just think like, I'd hope anyway. I look at it and I see it this way. I see two kids that were just doing whatever they could to make shit happen. You know, we would throw these, we would throw them out in the crowd, we just hand them to people. And then we did the same thing with the Hooligan EP. I remember, I think we gave all those away. I think we got rid of all those. And I remember that, like, that band, being in Soda Bomb was a lot more of an exploration of just like doing things yourself. Like, you know, that's where I got a lot into like Waves and the OCs and like I said, like a lot of the Burger Records stuff and the later like the garage rock revival stuff. It's all sort of, I don't want to say synonymous. It's not really the right word, but it was all kind of the ethics were a lot in that, of just like finding a crappy guitar at the thrift store and making it sound cool, not necessarily good. But you know, Soda Bomb was a band that had no business trying to do things. I mean, we were not popular for a long time. We ended up finding our listeners. We ended up touring the what's it called? Actually, you know what? I have our first tour flyer ever. Where is that? Damn. Okay, it's here. We ended up touring the East Coast and the Midwest a really like a lot until the band broke up. But I just remember the whole time that band. I mean, there was times where it was like a big struggle to make shit work, but that was the point. It was to make shit work. It wasn't to eventually move on to majors and stuff like that. If anything, that was really a lot of what broke the band up, was when like industry people got involved. When the spirit of the 18-year-old just little shithead left the band, I think that's when the band sort of died. That's when it met its faithful end. There you go. But this was actually the first full length tour that we ever did. Not full US, but it was the first like long tour that we ever did. That wasn't a weekend or a one off or something like that. And it was in I guess it was spring of 2015. I don't remember. I thought it was 2014, but I could be wrong about that. No, I think it was 2015. There actually is some pictures of us playing Penn State. I remember that show was like the floor was dirt, and it was after what was called a festival called Arts Crawl at Penn State, and I remember that being one of the craziest shows that the band had ever played, because everyone was super excited for us to play. It was an after show, and people were just going nuts. It was like I guess Arts Crawl was like the prom, like the college funded like safe festival, and then we played what would be the after party where everyone just kind of went nuts. But here's another picture of me. I got my Fu Manchu shirt on. I got a lot more hair than I do now, playing like a maniac. But, you know, when I remember Soda Bomb, I remember, especially for myself, I remember tapping into that ambition that I'm talking about, being that person, just not really taking no for an answer creatively. And we ended up finding listeners that way. We went from in a matter of like a year, like playing while the bartender's calling last call, to being on every local show that was happening at like the venue, the cool venue. Now, it might sound like I'm being super gloaty or whatever, but I'm really just this is the point. It's like there's a weird thing that's happening where I might have said this. I don't remember, but I'm going to repeat it if I didn't say it already. I'm getting too far into the video, where people are so afraid to talk about themselves. People are so afraid to try and sell you on something, not like actually exploit you and sell things and capitalize on you, but they're so afraid to just be passionate about what they're passionate about. Even in the way that people express themselves now, the way that people they even in the way that they sing, like they're always, it's like this muted passion where they're singing kind of with their mouth closed, or they only enunciate certain words, or the lyrics themselves are super self-deprecating. There's like this weird thing going, and it's so not me. Like I am a very passionate person. Obviously, as you could tell, like you could hear all the bangs and booms and fucking whatever happening while I'm talking, because I'm just flailing and going nuts. But the most important part of doing things yourself is to be passionate and to be that person, to like the person that everyone's like, oh, here goes you go talking about yourself again, talking about this, talking about that. It's I I find that like a part of the inspiration was to sort of break out of that. Even like again, the way people write stories, the way that their art is, the way that they joke, it's all so it really stifles the spirit. It's I feel like its intention is to stifle the spirit, and DIY is so spiritual in such a way. It is just tapping into the fire, the inner fire of self worth and just yeah, ambition. That's probably going to be a word that I say a lot in this video. Soda Bomb was the band that I really like. I think that really solidified that for me. Like I found that within myself, and pretty much once Soda Bomb ended, I needed an outlet because I had spent so much time working on Soda Bomb that and once it went away, I kind of didn't know what to do with myself. And at this point, I'm probably 22, 23 years old, and I'm while Soda Bomb was sort of meeting its fateful end, as I said, I was going back to comic book shops and rediscovering my love for cartoons. And I'm kind of the type of person that I guess if I see something that excites me, I have to try it. And as I started reading more comic books and finding things that I liked a lot, I just started drawing. And I had been a lifelong doodler. I had been an um, illustrator as a kid. I loved to draw. I loved to draw Dragon Ball Z. Samurai Jack was another one I used to draw a lot. I used to love watching cartoons, and it just kind of like made sense. It started filling a void and it sort of patching up a wound that was sort of open with this project that I had spent so much time with. And I'm sure it was that way for everybody. But for me, obviously, I can only speak from my own experience. So, yeah, I eventually started drawing. I would come home every day after work. I picked up pens. I had little crappy sketchbooks, and I would just kind of go to town. And I realized that as frustrating as it was that I wasn't like an Image Comics tier um, uh, artist at that time because I had just started. I knew that there was something there for me, and I kind of went back to the garage days of just being an artist or a creative person. And I just started to suck at what I was doing until I was decent at it. And, the early versions of Cauldron of Burgers really, I saved them and I keep copies of everything because um, I think that the garage days still, like I said, I'm probably going to sound like a broken record. Garage days are the most important part of an artist's development. Just a place where an artist is allowed to just let their mind go crazy and not worry about supporting themselves, not worrying about impressing people, just literally doing the thing badly to just see like how it makes them feel. And most of the time it makes them feel good. You know, the people that stop doing it pretty early on, it's like, yeah, they just move on to other things. They're probably a lot less they struggle a lot less in the real world because they're just like, okay, I can just go get a job. I'll find a job that I'm passionate about that pays me a lot and has a lot of benefits. Yeah, those people are probably better off not getting into comics or cartoons or music or whatever. That's besides the point. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about gratification here. That most people like people like that don't. They find gratification elsewhere. But I'm getting off track. The garage days of Cauldron of Burgers. I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had actually moved away from Long Island for a short time to live with a band that I had joined called DMP, and I moved to a place where it was very cheap. There was no rent. Not no rent, it was low rent. It might as well have been no rent. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stuttering. I'm moving through this. Forgive me. And I remember I had all of a sudden the time, because I was away from the hustle and bustle of New York, to actually start figuring out what I wanted to do. The garage had moved with me to a trailer in North Carolina where I lived with my two bandmates. And that is where I believe this comes first. This is an incomplete mini zine that I did called the Deacon. Now, the Deacon, I guess, is supposed to be some kind of supernatural cryptozoology cop that got screwed over by the institution that he was working for, and is now sort of on a vigilante mission quest type deal to go after this character called the Fucker. I don't know what the Fucker is. I don't remember. But I remember him kind of just going on this. You know what? Actually, no. I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna take some footage of this so you can see it. But he's this character that he's sitting on, I guess, standing on a rooftop in the rain. He's talking about, yeah, like I said, the powers that be fucked him over. He saw the shit with his own eyes. Bigfoot, he arrested him. Nessie, busted. El Chupacabra, well, let's just say your goats are safe. I didn't complete this, I think, because, like I said, I lost steam with it. I moved on to other things. I found an idea I liked better. But you can even see, like, I did not know how to put a book together, like saddle stitch a book, though I was trying. I did not have a drawing table. I did not have a studio. What I had was an office garbage pail that I put on its side, so I just had like the slant, and I would draw on that. I would sit on the floor, hunched over. I had some Walmart pens and some sketchbooks, and really just the drive to see this through. The Deacon, I kind of wish I finished it. Maybe I'll make a little mini comic of it one day. But the Deacon, I think, like I said, I think I might have left the Deacon alone to move on to my first completed project, which was Millennial Orc #1. There's no #2. I never got around to that either. But Millennial Orc was a well, I'll read you the cover. It says, most millennials can't even hard-boil an egg. How will they handle one of Middle Earth's most vile creatures? Basically, it's just about an orc who one night decides to bark up the wrong tree with some traveling wizards and then gets transported into present day. And yeah, it doesn't really go much further than that. But I believe it's a 12-page comic. And this is a really special book for me because I remember I was on tour with the band that I had lived with, and I wanted to finish this book. I brought these pages with me through the entire tour. It was a 3-week tour. We would sit in Starbucks. I would be drawing. We'd be at the show. I'd be drawing. Any chance I got, I'd be drawing. And I didn't care if people were like looking over my shoulder, asking me about it. In fact, I kind of encouraged it. I think the thing I most cared about was making sure that the pages didn't get destroyed. I was using my backpack as a pillow most nights, and I was like literally sleeping on top of these pages. It was definitely a really. I remember those times being really, really tough because they were just physically draining. But I remember finally finishing the book and being so satisfied with it. I remember just like I don't know. It's one of those things like I had been listening to the Image Comic podcast and pretty much trying to get as much advice, trying to be as much of a sponge as possible. And the biggest nugget of his advice that I got was from those podcasts was basically just finish the book, and like I did that. And it just I didn't care like who was looking over my shoulder, thinking it was weird that I was drawing in Starbucks or being super public about what I was doing. I just wanted to finish the book. And I remember, I don't think I ever sold any of these. I think I kind of knew that, like, I'm like, maybe I could probably do better. I think I tried, I put them online, and, or I don't remember. I think they were sold in an online store. I didn't know how to make an online store at the time. I just had a bunch of copies of it that I don't remember what I did with them. I might have sold a couple. But I remember my friend Ryan Robinson at Number 61 Press printed these out for me and published them. This is sort of like my first published book. And again, you might be someone who thinks that publishing means like having a hardcover book in Barnes and Noble, but this is literally what publishing means. This is like literally making it a physical, like a reality. That's what publishing is. It might not be on such a luxurious scale that your parents might frown upon you less for doing what you do because you don't have a job or what have you. You're in college and you're making your books and you're skipping school or whatever. Essentially, it's not going to counter all the aggravation that you're getting from other people's expectations, but this is what publishing is. It's making the thing a reality, and it's part of the reason I want to do this series is to show you that you don't need to. You don't need superficial fame and fortune to be successful. All you really need to do is see things through. And part of seeing things through is, like I said, being that person. Just not letting anything stand in your way, not letting yourself get in the way of stifling any sort of process or any sort of achievement. Not letting other people tell you that you can't do things, because there was people that were telling me that, like, I got to work on like illustrating and stuff. Like I could see that the vision was there, but it was I had people telling me and not really, just like not believing in what I did. And I just never let it bother me too much. This whole point of conversation is pointing me in the direction to bring up an artist that I met in the summer of 2019 at a house show in Massachusetts. Now, I've had to do that take a couple times because I kept saying Massachusetts, but not on purpose. But I remember my band Rule Them All was playing a house show with our friends in Restraining Order and Vantage Point, and it was house shows, especially hardcore shows that are in a house, tend to get pretty chaotic. And I remember just like looking around, and it was really hot out, and it was really sweaty in there. And I remember seeing this person holding a notepad and a pen, and I thought they were maybe writing something down, and I kind of like snuck over and got a glimpse, and they were drawing. They were doing these really gestural drawings of the action that was taking place, that was going on at this show. And I remember just being so impressed that, one, someone thought to do that, and also just wasn't like that this person wasn't afraid to sort of take this thing, which again, if a punk scene or any sort of underground scene is functioning properly, they shouldn't be afraid. But there's a lot of peanut gallery, there's a lot of people that are just rude and disrespectful, and you never know. But I remember just being so impressed that they were there doing it. And yeah, I remember going up to them and asking, like, "Are you drawing right now?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then we exchanged information. I gave them one of my zines. I believe, I'm pretty sure I remember that. I think I had them on me. I was bringing them everywhere at the time. But the artist that I'm talking about is Carrot Cake Zine. And I guess I'm gonna roll and post some I guess some imagery of what I'm talking about here. But I really support this zine, especially for the reasons that I guess encapsulate this whole video. Self-starter, someone who has really carved out a niche for themselves with this gestural show. I almost said photography, but gestural show documentation. It's a really, I think it's a really, really cool idea, and it's very original too. They're the only person, honestly, I can almost say in the country that is doing that. And I could be wrong. There could be other artists doing that, but as far as I know, they're the only artists in the country, like, at least in the Northeast in the country, that I've ever seen do that. 10,000 photographers, but no one with a notepad sitting there drawing and just getting the action all in there. But anytime that I ever need contributors to something, I always hit them up. I really believe in their cause. Go support Carrot Cake Zine. Yeah, they're especially in zine culture, in dare I say again, DIY culture. There is an inspiring amount of self starters. There's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of people that are taking so like a lot of shortcuts. Those are not people that you want to. Those are not people that you want to surround yourself with if you're really serious about this, because what's happening now with this big boom of information and technology is that there are people that there are, as I said at the beginning, surefire ways to make something yourself that is very generic, very run of the mill, and very much uninteresting. It's a weird way of capitalist brained people trying to be relatable, and it's not cool. People like Carrot Cake are people that you want to pick the brain of. Now, there's this other part of what I'm talking about that excites me, and that's the part where an ordinary person, really has no business uh, being in a certain scene or the arts, but they're there anyway. That's like when you have these things that are put together by a regular person, a normal person. I believe that those are the coolest things. Like, I hope that my friend Dog Shit Dave does not take any offense to this, but this is a zine I contributed to called Dog Shit Zine. Now, the point of it was to be very shitty, and it's all just photocopied together stuff. But it's someone who doesn't have like a publishing a degree or what have you, journalism degree, that put together a zine, all of his friends, all the stuff they do, interviews, information, and it's one of those things that, yeah, like, I mean, like a lot of things, a lot of people doing this, they have no business doing this because they're not just following. I guess I hate to put it this way, but like, they're not just trying to ascend to the mainstream. They're not trying to just use the underground as a stepping stone. They're just normal people, And when with being ambitious and not and being assertive, as a normal person, you are asserting yourself, and you're carving out a place for you, not to prove that you can climb the ladder and exist amongst the upper echelon, but to be like, I'm right here, and what the fuck I'm doing is worth it. Now, I feel like this is a really good representation of that. I'm probably the last example that I will give, because now I feel like I'm at the point where things are getting redundant, is I'll bring it back to myself, and I will say that this was this is a fucked up flyer that I did, but this was a flyer for a zine fest that I threw this year, part 2 coming soon, called Cauldron Con. Now, Cauldron Con, I got together a lot of people, And a lot of these artists, you should follow all of them. Um, and I tried to make a place for, uh, I guess, people to display and sell their self-published works, their handmade works. And I made that a requirement, is that I don't care what else you sell, but you need to have a zine on your table. You need to have some kind of handmade self-published book on your table, because it's a zine small press expo. But um, I am not someone who has much pull in any sort of comics cartoon community. I'm just simply someone who loves to make cartoons, make comics, and I love the medium as a whole. And I wanted to make a place for people to do that. I was very fortunate at this point in my life to have the resources to have a space that was willing to do it. But that came after a long time of just, you know, meeting people, having like having an idea and knowing enough artists just from doing my thing to I guess just to have something like worthwhile together to do. And obviously, even that, came with its setbacks. There was inclement weather. There was the St. Patrick's Day parade. So I won't say it was this grand, glorious, Javits Center Comic Con, but the people that were a part of it were, to my knowledge, very, very thankful. And again, like I said, I'm not someone who really, I guess, has any business doing that sort of thing. I don't really have any, as far as a normal person or civilians, as far as they're concerned. I don't really have like the bona fides uh, to do that sort of thing. But I did it anyway because I love what I do. And I guess I'm gonna end this off by saying, do what you love because you love it. Like do the thing, like it doesn't matter if you have credentials or I guess that's the best way I could put it. It doesn't matter if you have credentials. If the best credentials that you can have to start yourself is just the love of what you do, being passionate about what you do, and approaching these things with humility, because that is the difference between what someone might call like a poser and someone who is new. Someone who is new will approach something with humility and do something and make a contribution because they love it. Someone who is a poser is someone who, like I said, is using a culture, is is taking very obvious steps to advance without paying any respects to the culture. Might even be shitting on the culture. Might be destroying or shitting on, spitting on, excreting on the most important parts of it. Now that I've said excreting and shitting and gotten that all out of my system, I think I'm going to end this video here. Um, I definitely have a lot of plans for this series, and I hope that you will stick with me. If you like what you hear and you want to follow along with my actual work, I have a newsletter. That's really the most important thing to me right now. And you can go to cauldronofburgers.substack.com. I will put a link in the bio. No, I mean the description. Sorry, I'm not speaking YouTube language. I have a lot of plans. I'm working on a new book. All in a day's work. I've been sitting on this idea since literally I was living in the trailer that I had mentioned, and yeah, I hope this helped. I hope that I maybe repeated myself in a bunch of different ways that maybe the redundancy burns sort of a message in your brain, and I hope that message is clear, and I hope that helps you move, maybe not so much because I was pretty vague about what I was talking about, but helps you move in the direction of whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah, I guess that's it. See you later.